boyfriend, and that's the thing. Like, you have had boyfriends that have took heavy downfalls that a lot of females never experience, and you continue to push like you push, and I salute that. But if I'm not mistaken, you had a boyfriend die at your home at a point. It was in the yard or something. Can you explain what went down with that situation?
Yeah, so I met him at Central. I was 15. And so I met him in school, and that was my school boyfriend. Like, I was a virgin and everything, So we were dating for years. And so he was in the 12th grade, I was in the 10th. And so we dated or whatever. And since I wasn't having sex, he young, he gonna do his thing. He ended up meeting a girl, and they met, and they started doing their little thing, vibing or whatever, and they ended up having a kid. So I ended up dating. We broke up. So I ended up dating my oldest son, the one that's locked up, his dad. Well, in the mix of that, we broke up for a while. But after I had them, it was always true love. So we ended up back together. And so once we got back together, we stayed together, we got back together, I think I was like 17, 18. And we ended up, moving in together. And so once we moved in together, we, was there. So this particular thing, our hoods was into it. Our neighborhood, because he's from the hood I'm from, was into it with another neighborhood in the West End. And like that was our arch rival. And so they were banging. But the guy that's charged with his murder, I used to talk to as well, before that. So, they were banging. Our neighborhoods were banging. Let me just not say they, but it was the neighborhoods were banging. And so, the police, it was just like everybody, it was a lot of people that died that year. Well, this particular day, I was at work or whatever, and he was waiting on one of our homegirls that, she was in the hospital having a baby with our other homeboy. And so, because everybody used to date. So they were at the hospital, but they were going to go to the hospital and see him. And so he was waiting on one of my homegirls to pick him up. And he was standing on the porch, and these particular guys had came down. We stayed off of Roosevelt, and they drove down Roosevelt, parked in the alley, jumped off the alley, ran the side of the house, came from the side of the house, and he was standing on the porch waiting on his ride. And so they ran up on him, and they, shot him and killed him on the front porch. Well, after that, by this time, it's time for me. It's like right at the time for me to get off work. So I pulled up. When I pulled up, the yard was blocked off. The corner was there. The news was there. Everybody was there. And so it was just that was actually I'm gonna be honest with you. My life took a downward turn from there. He actually was the reason how I caught my first felony. I wasn't a felon when I first started dating him. He was the one that got my car wash at the car wash with some counterfeit money, and I wouldn't tell on him. And so that's how I got my first felony charge. But I didn't get convicted till after he died. And so once I cut that girl, that's how I ended up getting sent to prison because I was on probation for that charge. And so yeah, he passed away at
And you said that affected you?
Oh, it still do. And I didn't realize how much it do until like when I really get to just discussing it like but I didn't realize it do. And like when I go to the grave often, I went through a lot. And it wasn't just his death. It was the effects of everything that trickled on down from, one side of his family, because I'm gonna be honest, like his other side of his family that actually he was living with, they never blamed me because they knew the truth, because that's who he was living with. They saw us every day. They knew the truth. But the other side didn't know the truth. So they listening to what the streets say. And the streets, all they know is the fact that I used to talk to this dude that, was one of the ones that killed him. And so, I had that going on in my neighborhood. They were, going, feeling a certain type of way. Not all of them, but some of them was feeling a type of way. And then I'm going through I can't even grieve the way I need to grieve because I got to deal with all of this. And I'm real like I wanna like really hurt somebody at this point, you know. So I went through a lot at that time, and that was my downward. Like that same day, I had 3 fights, you know, in one day. I had 3 fights with my friends. And them girls didn't do nothing. I went and looked for every girl that, you know, had, you know, tried to, you know, talk to them. I went to, yeah, I went and looked for every female that he used to talk to. You know, I was into it with all these different people, and I was just angry. And that was really my downturn, like, because, like I said, I wasn't a felon or anything before that. And so it was just, I went through a lot behind that.
And I can tell it's an emotional situation. I done had situations just like that to where people turned on me the same exact way. And even turned on my baby mom, jumping on her when they see her. So I know what it's like when it's murder involved and it's a bunch of talk and different shit. Like that really affect individuals in a big way, especially if you know you ain't doing what they say.
Yeah, and that's what the problem was. Like, I probably wouldn't have been. Thank you. So, you know, emotional or even just like angry as I was, if I really had, you know, anything going on with it. But like a lot of my people from the hood that really knew, they knew I didn't have anything to do with it. Because I mean, yeah, like I said, I said this in one of my stories that I told on my you know, podcast on my show, that I understand where people was going with that idea, because I know how when somebody passed, people are just quick to blame somebody. But that's why you never see me do that. You never see me jump to judgment. I won't do it. I will not do it. I will not put a police jacket on somebody just because. And I would not just say, because a girl dated this dude. I feel like anybody can love who they want to love, or they can talk to who they want to talk to. Because one thing about it, when I used to talk to anybody from a different hood, I never discussed hood shit. Because I love my folks. And I refuse to watch you say something negative about my folks. So we're not going to discuss it. So if that's what you're thinking about, that's what you're thinking about. It ain't going to have nothing to do with my homeboys or my homegirls, you know. You see what I'm saying? So that's just something that's sincerely deep to my heart. Like,